welcome to Vintage SF for another trio of reviews. This time, the good, and the bad. Two of them were Halloween reads or spooky October reads. Dagger of the Mind by Bob Shaw and A Night in Lonesome October by Roger Zelazny. And then the third one was a science fiction pickup I made at the Children's Hospital Book Market, Twice in Time by Manly Wade Wellman. So I think I want to start off with the bad, and then we're going to go to the good. So which one of these was the bad? Unfortunately, one of my favorite authors, Bob Shaw's Dagger of the Mind. It's from 1979. This is the story of an epileptic who takes part in a drug trial for a drug named, what was its name? Compound 183. Now, this novel doesn't decide whether it can be a horror novel, a thriller, or a science fiction novel. Sometimes that's a good thing when things can mash together, but this didn't really work, for me at least. Our main character, John Redpath, is at home in his apartment, and underneath the door to his apartment he sees a shadow of some sort. So he goes to peek out that peek hole to see if there's someone out there. There's a little bit of mystery here. And then all of a sudden he sees a face without skin, as if it's been peeled off. Here's an image from one of the covers for this book. Of course, he's terrified. What is happening here? And the visions don't stop. We go into a real horror type story here. A man who can't trust what he sees. Is this a side effect of the drugs? In a crazed moment, he goes to his girlfriend's apartment and tries to talk to her about this, but he sees something and he's terrified and he grabs a knife. What has he done? Has he killed his girlfriend? He runs away and goes to a house that seems to exist in two time frames, the people in there being those who are telepathic or with special powers. Is he a telepath himself? All this jumbled storyline plays out, and there is a revelation towards the end that helps us understand what's going on, but it's a mess. I was really disappointed. I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. I would give it 3 out of 10, and that might be generous. This is one Bob Shaw I'm not going to be keeping on my shelf. All right, that's it. Let's get rid of this one. What should we go to next? There's 2 good books coming up here. Well, let's stay with the spooky October theme. This is a book, A Night in the Lonesome October, which I read 1 chapter per day in October. I actually cheated on the last couple chapters and finished off the book. But what you can see here is each chapter has a date. And so I read along with those. Some other people have done this as part of their October reading tradition. I had this book given to me by a friend, and so he recommended that I read it this way. This is Roger Zelazny's last book before he passed away. It is published or copyrighted in 1993, and it's illustrated. Every chapter has an illustration by, let's see here, Gahan Wilson, the one in red there. He doesn't do this cover illustration, but all the illustrations inside. Now, as you can see by this cover, we have a group of characters from Victorian England, fictional characters, and there seems to be quite a few of them in this picture. This is a mishmash mix-up of all these characters come together in one plot. But we're following our protagonist, right over here, is Snuff the dog, who may be, as we can understand it, the dog of Jack the Ripper. We have the great detective. We have Dracula and others back here. I'm sure you can see Dr. Frankenstein and his monster there as well. Every character in here that's from the Victorian fictional era has an animal of sorts with them. Not exactly a spirit animal, but a pet of sorts, and those pets are involved in this plot. They have roots around the neighborhood, checking to see what is happening. And something is afoot because there's going to be a full moon on October 31st. This is something that doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, there is a supernatural threat. And there's sides, people who are there for the opening and closing of some sort of door. Can the world be protected from whatever is coming through that door? Although that sounds quite dark, this novel is quite whimsical with the animals. We are quite simply seeing the human interactions from the animals' points of view, and the animals can communicate with some of the humans. Some of the humans are not quite human as well. So I don't consider this a scary read. I consider it whimsical and fun. It's not really too long, fairly large font, and as I said, there is a picture per chapter. Let's see here. Let's grab one. There's another one. I think you might guess who that is. And yeah, just a fun read. I would give it 7.5 out of 10. Could be a lot of fun for next October for you. And the last one, Twice in Time by Manly Wade Wellman. This is a time travel story. It has a remarkable beginning that frames the story. I guess frames doesn't work here because we don't come to it at the end. From the back of the book, I've read this before on a book haul, but it is really pertinent here. The editors and publishers must make clear at once that they do not vouch for the truth of this unusual account here presented. It came to their attention through friends of Father David Sutton, a Roman Catholic priest. Father Sutton reports that he bought a tarnished silver casket near Florence, Italy, for $4 American in 1947. On the sealed lid was deeply incised, in Latin, French, and Italian, "Let no man open or dispose of this casket on peril of his immortal soul before April of 1957. Father Sutton respected the injunction and waited until May 21st, 1957 before prying the casket open. It contained sheets of paper written over in script in modern English and bound with gold wire in the form of a rough book. Several passages, including a large one at the very beginning, had been classified by federal agencies as not to be released for publication. What has been unclassified is here, offered as an undeniable curiosity. Twice in Time. Have you ever imagined, when reading about some past age you found particularly fascinating, what it might be like to go back in time and actually live through that period? So began the adventure of Leo Thrasher, the man who was twice in time. Here is a powerful novel of a splendid age, seen through the eyes of a man of our time. A novel of pageantry, suspense, and intrigue, of the ironic destiny of a visitor from the future, trying to turn his knowledge of things to come to his advantage. A Galaxy Magazine selected novel. So we have a story of a man who goes back into the 1400s in Italy. To be specific, mostly in Florence. Will his knowledge from the future help him in the past? This has quite an adventure story quality to it. You might even feel like there are shades of Count of Monte Cristo in here as well. Sword fights, betrayals, even enslavement, a romance, prison, and eventually our lead character is going to be in the climactic battle. What happens here is it's a pretty straightforward adventure story of sorts. For a while I was thinking this is maybe about a 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5, but the ending took things to a place that I didn't expect. Wellman has been setting us up all the way along for a bit of a reveal at the end, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun, short read, and that I would give it 7.5 out of 10. A lot of that earned by the last few chapters. Perhaps this is an ending that some of you would see coming, but I didn't. It got me. So there you have it. We've got 2 good books and 1 I would not recommend. That's your trio of reviews for today. I'd love to hear if you've read any of these books. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep reading.